Good day everyone and welcome for another video presentation for our subject theories of crime causation. So now we are going to have here chapter 3 and we are going to talk about biological and biosocial theories. So with that, there are lots of things, okay? Common dito yung study ng positivist school noon, okay? Under biological. And not only under the positivist school, during the ancient times, meron ding biological theories. Theories na pwede nating may relate on crime causation. And then with that, pagkatapos din ng positivist school or positivist theories, meron ding mga sumunod na mga famous personalities who studied also or who focused more on biological and biosocial theories. So we are going to know them one by one as we proceed as we proceed in this presentation. So first, let's just try to review what is all about biological. So we have said the last time that when we say biological, it refers, okay? So these are theories, okay? Theories that are used to describe processes, okay, and states that occur in the bodies, okay, and cells of living things. So common dito, we are going to focus on the individual persons itself, okay? What is inside that individual, okay? Or how does a body of person functions and how does it affects his behavior, or maybe how does it contributes to criminality. Or somewhat, we have here also the question, can we identify or can we classify a person with regards to his physical characteristics or physical constitution, okay? A criminal person with a non-criminal person. Can we distinguish it or can we distinguish them by observing the biological or maybe the physical constitution of the man? That could be a question that is being answered here under biological theories, or those are some of the things that are being supported here in biological theories. So in comparison also with the so-called biosocial, so kung kanina napag-usapan natin is biological focus more on the human body, okay, or the body of a certain person and how does, okay, pati na rin yung cells, okay, yung functioning ng organs niya, somewhat like those, or yung physical characteristics niya. So that is for biological, yung focus niya. So for biosocial, in comparison with that, by the word bio, okay, and it is social, okay, it is a combination, di ba? So it combined by the word bio, so meaning we are going to study the person, okay? We are going to study the body, okay, the physical constitution of the man, okay, how does it affects, okay, the functioning of the body of the man and its contributions in criminality or in criminal behavior. And not only that, okay, we are going to incorporate also the social factors, okay? So meaning combination of social and biological factors. So we are going also to include the social factors or the environmental factors, or in a way na titignan din natin, okay, yung kinalakihan, okay, yung environment kung saan lumaki, saan nag-grow yung isang tao. Okay, so that is being combined. So we call that, or we call those as biosocial theories. Okay, so that is the difference between these two. Okay, biosocial theories and biological theories. Okay, so with that, we are going to have here some of the principles of biological theories. So it was said here that early biological theories focused mainly on physical features, okay, and heredity, especially si Cesar Lombroso nun, di ba? Okay, not only Cesar Lombroso but also yung mga famous personality in physiognomy. So makikita ninyo mamaya sila Carl Gustav Jung, nandyan ma-encounter nyo si Johan, Caspar, Lavator, and William Sheldon, mga yan. Okay? So, as to the early biological theories, yun mostly yung naging focus nila, physical features and heredity. But as to compared now, okay, so we are not relying most of the time here. I mean, we are not already. Okay, or some of the theories nowadays, they are not relating it to crime causation itong physical features. But as to the history, okay, early biological theorists, they are focusing on those ones. Another one here is on number 2. It says contemporary biosocial theorists take more in-depth look at human biology. Okay, so we are going to have here, nowadays, okay, as to the contemporary period, biosocial theorists, they are not looking only on the physical constitution of the man. Okay, but now mayroon tayo human biology such as biochemical conditions. Okay, just like poor diet, okay? Poor diet or hormone imbalance. Katulad ng ma-encounter natin mamaya, yung XYY chromosome study. Okay, so ano bang, meron bang effect yun in criminality or in, for a person to be able or for a person to adapt criminal behavior? So that will be, that is being considered nowadays, okay? So hindi na basta sa pagmumukha yung tinitignan natin or tinitignan ng mga biosocial theorists ngayon. Okay, or biological theorists. Aside from that, neuropsychological, okay, neuropsychological conditions, just like learning disabilities, okay, or mental illnesses, okay, caused by brain damage, okay, somewhat like an accident wherein naka-encounter sila ng injury, especially dun sa brain injury. So, how does it affects, okay, or how does it contributes in the adaptation of criminal behavior? And then aside from that, genetic inheritance. So katulad nung early times din, pinaghihinalaan nila na criminal behavior is being inherited. But as today, as to the contemporary period, still, that is not yet absolute. So yan pa rin ay under or subject for study pa rin. Okay, genetic inheritance and or abnormality. Genetic abnormality. And then we have here intelligence. Okay. Or in other words, it has something to do also with the neurophysiological. Okay, or how does how does the mind, okay, how does the learning ability of a person develop also? Okay, that is under intelligence. So those are being considered under biosocial theories. So hindi na basta-basta na tumitingin lang sa physical constitution. Okay, and then with that, number 3. Major distinction is the emphasis placed on the interplay between biology and then the social and physical environments. Okay, so major distinction is the emphasis placed, okay, on the interplay between the biology and social, okay, and physical environments. So there are as we have said, okay, it is combination, okay, combination of the two, biology and social. So with that, theorists, okay, under biosocial theorists, they are trying to relate or they are trying to look on, okay, the relationship of this biological, okay, biological conditions of the man in relation to social. Okay, kasi meron yung iba sinasabi nila, it's not a man is born, okay? A man is born pure, okay? As pure, diba? Walang kaalam-alam yan na walang kaalam-alam yan or walang as in walang kaalam-alam or blank plate, okay? Or they describe as blank plate. So with that, na-adapt niya lang yung mga behaviors or yung mga the way he moves or the way he acts, na-adapt niya lang yan. It's because of the environment. Okay? Pero meron din yung nagsasabi, okay, under biological theories that they say na ipinanganak pa lang siya is meron na siya, namana na niya yung behavior na yan from his parents. Okay? Namana na niya yung mga characteristics na yun from his parents. Okay? So those are some of the things that are being considered in this so-called biological and then social theories also. So with that, those are the 3 principles, common principles that are incorporated under biological or biosocial theories. And then now we have here the so-called positivism naman. Okay, kapag sinabing positivism, we are not referring or we are not just referring to the positivist school. So hindi po. So it is actually a term, guys, when we say positivism, it is actually a term that is associated, okay, with the belief that all valid knowledge, okay, valid knowledge or true knowledge is acquired only through observation. Okay. So maybe some of you will agree with this one, but maybe some of you will say it's not just through observation. So napakaraming ways in order for us to acquire knowledge. Okay, but as to positivism, they believe, okay, that we can acquire valid knowledge through observation a certain individual or a certain thing. So this is the ones that are being applied during the earliest or earlier times. Okay, so kung mapapansin niyo, paano in-study ni Cesar Lombroso yung paano siya nag-arrive sa conclusion niya, sinabi niya na there are born criminals. Okay? So, anong ginawa niya? Diba, inobserbahan niya yung isang criminal, isang tao, okay, na considered as criminal. Inobserbahan niya yung itsura and then characteristics and then sinabi niya, ganito yung itsura ng criminal. Okay? Ganito yung physical characteristics ng isang criminal. So, with that, he arrived in a conclusion, or he were able to complete his study through positivism. Okay? That is through observation. He acquired it through observation. And then with that, meron tayo yung tinatawag under positivism, meron yung individual and then meron yung sociological positivism. Okay? So we are going to have here first the so-called individual positivism. So under individual positivism, it is common on biological and psychological theories. So, ano ba ang individual positivism? So, by the word individual, it is focused on biological and psychological factors, okay? Locating the source of crime primarily within the individual, okay? Bringing to the four questions of individual pathology. So, meaning it simply refers to the certain individual, or the focus or the way on how we are going to arrive with the conclusion is by observing the individual itself, okay, or the characteristics, or maybe the way that the person acts, or maybe the way the person develops or grow. Okay, so that is the one. Yan ay makaklasify natin as individual positivism. So just like na lang yung study ni Sigmund Freud, wherein may encounter natin mamaya. So paano niya nabuo yung psychosexual theory niya? So that is by observing his daughter, yung anak niya na babae. So that is how he arrived in his theory, in his famous theory, psychosexual theory. So yan yung yan is under individual positivism. Okay, so another one we have here, this so-called under individual positivism, meron yung tinatawag natin na biological positivism. So under biological positivism, it includes the study of the following theories in relation to criminality. So ano yon? Okay, study on criminal anthropology. Okay, and then meron din tayo yung tinatawag na phrenology. Okay, so phrenology, that is the study, or somewhat focused on the study of a skull of a certain person or certain individual in relation to criminality or criminal behavior. And then another one we have here, the so-called physiognomy. It focus naman sa facial features, sa pagmumukha. Okay, and then we have here heredity, especially nandyan yung famous study ni Dr. Charles. Okay, I mean not Charles but Dr. sino yan? Goddard. Okay, and then with that, nandyan yung Kalikak family study. Okay, and then we have here also criminal body types by William Sheldon, yung mga somatotyping theory nila. Okay, and then we have here genetic structure also is being considered under biological positivism, or inoobserbahan ng mga yan. Biochemistry, okay, blood sugar levels, okay, how does it contributes to the, or how does it affects the certain behavior of that certain individual. Okay, adrenaline sensitivity, and then allergies and diet and substance abuses. So those are being observed, or those are being considered under biological positivism. Next one is still under individual positivism, meron naman tayong tinatawag na psychological positivism. So it simply relates criminality through the study of following theories. Number one is psychodynamics or psychoanalytical theory, wherein nandyan yung study ni Sigmund Freud, okay? The psychoanalytical theory also. So medyo maraming theories na na-create itong si Sigmund Freud na ginagamit or inaaral still on psychology and pati na rin sa atin sa criminology. And then we have here also behavioral learning theories. So we will be encountering this later on, especially dun sa social learning theories. And then we have here cognitive learning theories naman. Okay, so how does a certain how does the certain mentality, okay, or intelligence ng isang tao develops also, or mind. Okay, paano na de-develop ang mind ng isang tao. Okay? So that is being considered under psychological positivism also. And then now we have here the sociological positivism. So kung sa individual positivism, it is focused on the individual itself, on the person itself. Ito namang sociological positivism. Okay? We are going to have here. Okay? We are going to focus on the social rather than the individual pathology or individual abnormalities. Okay, so in this sociological positivism also regard crime as a consequence of social, okay, not on individual pathology. Okay, so with that we are going to observe the society or the social factor instead of the individual. So in short, kabaliktaran ito ng individual positivism. Okay, so let's try to compare it using this table. Okay, what are the difference between those two? Okay, so the individual positivism, okay, it says here crime is caused by individual abnormality or pathology. So yun yung belief nila. I mean, yun yung mga findings dito or that are being considered under individual positivism. Okay, take note of that. Abnormality nung maybe doon sa functioning ng tao, okay, doon sa itsura ng tao, okay, or doon sa pag-iisip ng tao. So they believe that is the crime, that caused crime, okay, or that caused criminality. But with this, on social positivism, they don't agree with that. Okay, they say that crime is caused by social pathology, okay, or yung abnormality doon sa society. Paanong abnormality? So katulad na lang ng giyera, okay, war within the society, okay, so that causes crime, or that is somewhat a belief, or that is somewhat an example that we could give na masasabi na just to further elaborate this one. Okay, so social pathology, any dysfunctions dun sa society, okay, just like wars, okay, just like conflicts between cultures, okay. Pati na rin siguro dyan, nandyan yung away dyan sa neighborhood, okay, conflicts within the neighborhood, okay, use of illegal drugs, okay, ng mga nandun sa certain society na yun. So that could also some of the examples that we can consider that is a social abnormality or social pathology. And then it says here also on the second one, crime is viewed as a biological, psychiatric, okay, personality or learning deficiency, okay, learning deficiency. So they say that one of the reason of it is learning deficiency. So, or maybe in other words, they say that it's lack of education maybe. Okay, so with that, it is opposed or kabaliktaran na naman ng sociological positivism. Sabi nila, crime is viewed as a product of dysfunctions in social, okay, economic, political conditions. As we have said a while ago, problema sa society, okay, away, conflicts, others, inequality, okay, for economic, poverty, unemployment, okay, political conditions, okay, maybe doon sa belief nila, political ideologies, so they like it to be to have a communist governance, okay, pero yung iba gusto nila capitalist governance. So with that, yan yung sinasabi naman dito sa sociological positivism, not on the learning deficiency of the person but on the social dysfunctions. Okay, and the next one, The third one here, crime is a violation of moral consensus surrounding legal codes. So these are, a crime is a violation on those legal codes that are being implemented, or not. On the moral consensus. So meaning on the beliefs of that certain person. Okay, moral beliefs. Moral beliefs of that certain person. Okay, or those standards, moral standards. Okay, moral standards that are being known, just like na lang yung natural laws, mga yun. Okay, so even though with regards to this moral, okay, when you say moral kasi, it is good in nature. Okay, so kahit pa man hindi na sabi or na define yan as maganda, okay, still parang hindi na define or hindi man din-define yan, still in its nature yan is good. Okay, it is approved. Okay, it is approved by every individual. Okay, or in other words, nandyan na lalabas yung sa moral standards na sinasabi natin. Okay, na even though na kahit walang batas na sasabi na yan ay bawal, that is still kahit pa sabihin na natin na yan ay walang batas na nagsasabi na yan ay mali, still in the eyes of every people, okay, in the eyes of every person, yan pa rin ay maling-mali. Okay, so those are that is considered as violation of moral consensus or moral standards. As to the other, crime is a violation of collective conscience. So collective conscience, we refer to it as yung sinasabi natin na we refer to it as the things, okay, that was agreed upon by the members of the society na tama. Okay, or yung mga policies na pinag-agreean ng bawat member ng society, okay, na tama or na dapat gawin. Okay, so with that, under sociological positivism, violations or if you break those principles that was agreed by all or majority of the member of the society, then we can say, that is said to be as violation. Okay, that is said to be as crime. Okay, in violation of the collective conscience. Okay, or yung pinag-agreean nila na dapat gawin. Okay, or somewhat those are the things that was agreed upon by the members of the society. Okay? Kasi 'di ba, in creating laws or in creating rules, minsan nandyan yung agreement between different people, 'di ba? So hindi lang isa yung nagde-decide. Sometimes in creating those it is participated by several groups. So with that, mabubuo yung collective conscience, or somewhat parang mong ganun yung essence ng collective conscience. So with that, yan yung nandyan naman sa biological positivism. Another one, it says here for individual positivism, crime varies with temperament. Okay? Temperament, personality, and degree of adequate socialization. So later on, we are going to relate the body types with temperament also. Okay? And then later on, we are going to relate it kung ano ba yung common crimes na mai-involve sila or nai-involve yung mga klase ng tao na merong temperament na ganun. So later on, we are going to discuss that on the next slides. Okay, pero as to the individual positivism, they believe that it varies with the temperament, personality, and that degree of adequate socialization. So as to the sociological positivism, sinabi naman nila dito, okay, it varies from region to region. So it depends from the location of the individual or location, or it depends on the economic condition. Okay, maybe the political milieux, okay, surroundings, location, or setting. Okay, with that, yan naman yung cause ng crime. Not cause, but yan naman yung ways na makakapag reason behind wherein nagbabago yung krimen, okay, or no, yung nature ng krimen or type of crimes that are being committed. So next here, criminals can be treated via medicine. Sabi nila dito, therapy or resocialization and the condition of majority thus cured. Okay, So, in comparison with the sociological positivism, crime can be treated via programs of social reform. Okay? So, but never completely eradicated. So, as to the individual positivism, masasabi nila magagamot yan completely. Okay? Or majority. But in here, it can never be completely eradicated. Okay? So, with that, ano ba yung mga programs na in-implement nila to treat those crimes? Okay? So, I think in our country, there are lots of programs that are being implemented also to treat, okay, or to treat crimes. Okay? So, nandyan na lang yung programs ng PNP natin. Okay? Campaigns nila. Okay? With regards to crime prevention. So, nandyan, okay, police patrol operations na ginagawa nila. Okay? Nandyan din yung operational tokhang for illegal drugs and others. Okay? So, napakaraming programs na ginagawa nila. And then with that, crime is an abnormal individual condition. Okay? Crime is an abnormal individual condition or abnormal. Okay? It's because of the certain individual or abnormality of that certain individual. But as to sociological positivism, it says here, crime is a normal social fact. Okay? But certain rates of crime as a dysfunctional, or in other words, crime is caused by dysfunction or social dysfunctions or disorder in the society. Okay, so all in all, those are the difference between those two, individual and sociological positivism. So now let us try to have here this question. Okay, so it says here, the study of the external formation of the skull and its shape such as bumps, okay, of the heads, on the head, to determine whether these physical attributes were linked to criminal behavior. So kung mapapansin ninyo, if you're going to observe closely yung skulls ninyo, hindi yan perfect circle, di ba? Or hindi yan soft, okay? Or perfect, as in completely flat or circular, okay? So you will observe merong bumps yan, okay? Merong inequality dyan, okay? On the lining or maybe as to the shape of the skull, okay, di ba? So with that, that is what study or what best describes that or what best defines that. Okay, so take note in link, it is linked to criminal behavior. So take note, so sa craniology parehas lang yan, na study of skull also, and then meron din dito phrenology, study of skull din yan. Okay? Pero yun nga lang, ano ang pagkakaiba ng dalawa. Okay? So, ito naman sa physiognomy, yan ay for facial features. So, matotyping, body types yan. So, the closest answer here is letter A or B. So, as to answer that, the correct answer is letter B. So, why? Okay, so sa craniology, it's just the study of the skull, okay, and its shape, okay, with no relation or it's not linked to criminal behavior. So the popular or the best term that was being used, okay, here is phrenology. So study of the skull and its shape, such as its bumps in relation to criminal behavior, then we call it as phrenology. So yung kabaliktaran niya, okay, yung kabaliktaran niya is this one, okay, craniology. Yung medyo kadikit niya. So, craniology, it is the scientific study, the shape and size of the skulls of different human races. But it is not linked to yung katulad ng phrenology, it is not linked to criminal behavior. So, I hope you were able to keep that in mind. Okay, and then we have here another question. It says here, the study of the person's physical characteristics, especially their face. So as I've mentioned a while ago, this is referred to as the physiognomy. Okay, take note of that. Study of face, okay, or facial characteristics, we refer to it as physiognomy. So kindly take note of that. Okay, and then on the earliest era, okay, earlier times, they believe, okay, or they hope na pwede talaga sana nating ma-identify kung sino yung criminal basing sa pagmumukha. Okay? Gusto nilang paniwalaan yun or gusto nila pwede talagang basehan ang mukha in determining criminals. Pero as to now, we disagree with that. Okay? This century, we don't accept that, di ba? Meron sa inyo siguro naniniwala na porket pangit, kriminal yan, mga ganun. Pero yung iba naman, hindi mo masasabi sa lahat ng pagkakataon, di ba? That's why it's said here that it is widely discredited during these times, 20th century. And then another question here, the classifying of people into types according to body build. So simply, you were able to have here the keyword. Okay, it also relates distinctive body types to personality, characteristics, and relate to criminal behavior to the body type. So that is simply referred to as the somatotyping. Okay, so that is the correct answer here. So let us try to discuss them now one by one. Okay, as we go on. So we have here the constitutional theory also. So what do we mean by constitutional theory? So hindi po natin ibig sabihin na pag sinabing constitutional theory, we are referring to our Philippine Constitution, or we are referring to the supreme law, okay, of the land, okay, or yung constitution. So hindi po. So under the study of theories of crime causation, pag sinabi natin constitutional theory, we refer to theories, okay, that explains criminality by reference to offender body types. So it could be body types, inheritance or genetics, or external observable physical characteristics, gaya na lang ng facial characteristics. Okay, mga ganun. So, observing the outside, okay, outside characteristics or appearance of a certain person. So that those are constitutional theories. So, napakaraming theories that is under this. Okay, katulad na lang ng nasabi natin kanina. Okay, yung theory yung study, okay, or yung sinasabi natin na somatotyping theory. So that will fall under constitutional theory. Okay, and then with that, we have here the famous phrenologist and physiognomist, and then their contributions in criminology. So actually, these are not only focused on phrenologists and physiognomists. Meron din tayo yung we encounter later on some of these biosocial theories. Okay, so let's try to focus more first on Charles Buchmann Goring. So who is Charles Buchmann Goring? So he was very popular, or he was famous, known on 1870 to 1919. So that is the span, okay, lifetime of Charles Buchmann Goring. So with that, he is the one who studied also this, or who were able to publish this work, which is so entitled as the English Convict. Okay, so it is actually a statistical study published in 1913. So what is presented in his book? Okay, so sabi niya dyan, the purpose is to establish whether there were any significant physical, okay, or mental abnormalities among the criminal classes, okay, that set them apart from ordinary men, as suggested by Cesar Lombroso. Okay, so yung target niya dito is yung study ni Cesar Lombroso. Gusto niyang malaman kung totoo ba yung study or yung sinabi ni Cesar Lombroso na pwede nating ma-identify yung isang tao basing sa physical constitution or physical characteristics niya. Okay, so yun yung gustong patunayan ni Charles Buchmann Goring, that with that Charles Buchmann Goring on that. Okay, that's why he created, or he published this, or he did this statistical study. And then what happened next? Okay, so anyway, he started his study under the sponsorship of the British government. Okay, and then with the assistance of the staffs of the prison. Okay, and then Carl Person, so merong famous personality dito na nabanggit, and his staff at the biometrics laboratory. So he was assisted by those individuals, okay, in the conduct of this statistical study. So the thing that he did here is he collected and analyzed, okay, data bearing upon 96 traits of each of over 3,000 English convicts with the aid of those individual nung nabanggit natin kanina doon sa British prison na yun. So with that, ano yung naging conclusion? So the conclusion, he said here, okay, it was stated in his book, he ultimately concluded that the physical and mental constitution of both criminal okay, and law-abiding persons of the same age, stature class, okay, and intelligence are identical. So, anong ibig sabihin niya doon? Okay? Identical, ibig sabihin, parehas lang naman. Parehas lang naman yung isip. Okay? Parehas lang naman yung mental constitution ng isang criminal with the law-abiding citizen. Walang pinagkaiba. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? Did he agree on the study of Cesar Lombroso or he discredited it? So, in short, he didn't agree, okay, with the study or with the conclusion of Cesar Lombroso. So, he said, there is no such thing as an anthropological criminal types. Okay? So, yun yung naging contribution ni Charles Buchmann Goring. He discredited the belief of Cesar Lombroso that we can identify or we can classify criminals through physical characteristics. So, yan yung naging contribution niya. And then another one is Goring went on to argue that one of these three measures in which to combat crime was, okay, so to regulate the reproduction of those degree of constitutional qualities such as feeble-minded, inebriety, okay, epilepsy, or social instincts, or those who are having abnormalities in their mind, okay, or on the mentality. Okay, sinabi niya, we should regulate their reproduction. So, naging uso noon yung yung tinatawag nila na parang pagpatay dun sa mga tao na sa mga abnormal or mga tao na nasa lower class, okay? Somewhat they called as genocide. Ayun, okay? So with that, as to the belief of Charles Buchmann Goring, so he discredited yung study ni Cesar Lombroso. Pero with that, on the findings or on his study, he were able also to identify or he were able to conclude that feeble-mindedness, constitutional qualities are being inherited. Okay? Namamana. Okay? Pag kulang sa isip or may problema sa pag-iisip, sinabi nila, yan ay namamana. So, anong sinuggest niya? Kasi he believed that that can contribute to criminality. Feeble-mindedness, insanity, epilepsy, and others. That's why sinuggest niya, we should regulate or kontrolin natin yung reproduction or pigilan natin yung reproduction ng mga yun. Okay, so anong ginagawa? Sometimes, they try to make sure that pag baby, sa mga buntis, they make sure na yung dinadala nila, okay, sa loob nila, okay, na baby or na fetus or na bata is normal. Okay, so pag malaman nila na hindi normal yan, okay, what are they going to do? Sometimes they try to kill those or to do abortion, okay, para hindi na maparami yung reproduction ng ganong abnormalities. Okay, so those are some of the things that were being was contributed by Charles Goring. Okay, and next we have here Franz Joseph Gals. Oh, he was popular during 1758 to 1828, and based his study more on skull sizes and facial features. So itong meron din siyang pinangalanan dito as theory of organology and method of cranioscopy, and then later on yan yung tinawag natin as phrenology. Okay? Ito na yung common term or the famous term na ginagamit natin. So anyway, as to the history, okay, and with the contribution of Franz Joseph Gall, meron nang nagsimula yan sa theory of organology. Okay? And method of cranioscopy. And then ano ba yung ginawa ni Franz Joseph Gall? So he collected and observed 120 skulls in order to test his hypothesis, and then what is his findings. Okay, so we are going to have here later. So anyway, in here, yung sinasabi niya as theory of organology, so he states that the mind is a collection of independent entities housed within the brain. So just like na lang ng ito. Okay, so ito yung nilagay niya din sa libro niya. Okay? or yung illustration niya on the composition or on his theory of organology. So he divided the mind of a certain person. So nandito yung divisions niya, kung mapapansin nyo, meron siyang mga writings. Okay, so ito yung original. Somewhat this might be the original, okay, once, but as to the English translation, it is translated, makikita nyo ganito daw yung composition, okay, ng ating isipan. So meron sa bawat area, merong kanya-kanyang kanya-kanyang characters or kanya-kanyang personality na kinokontrol, or maybe store in our mind. Okay, so nandyan yung self-esteem. So dito sa part na to, self-esteem, nandyan din yung state of firmness, okay, and then nandyan din immortality, hope, and others. So ganun yung ginawa niya on the theory of organology. And then with that, as we have said a while ago, he does not focus only on theory of organology, but also on cranioscopy. So it says here, what is cranioscopy? It is a method to determine the personality and development of mental and moral faculties on the basis of the external shape of the skull. Okay, external shape of the skull. Okay, and then with that, later on, they were all known as the phrenology. Okay, and then Franz Joseph Gall, as to his further study readings, he believed that the bumps and the uneven geography of human skull were caused by pressure, okay, exerted from the brain underneath. Okay, so kaya daw tayo nagkakaroon ng bumps sa ating skulls. That is because yun, dahil sa pag-iisip natin. Okay, it's because of our brain. Okay, the functioning of our brain inside our skull. So anyway, I don't know if you will agree with that. Okay, and then as to the picture, it says, as to the division, okay, so it's divided into 27 fundamental faculties, such as we have mentioned. Okay, ilan lamang dyan: recollection of people, mechanical ability, the talent for poetry, love for property, and even a murder instinct. So nandyan yan yung mga nilagay niya. Okay, in-identify niya sa bawat areas ng ating dyan sa skull or dyan sa mind. Okay, and then with that, ano pa ba ang naging contributions ni Franz dito? So he disagreed with Philippine Penel, okay, and Peter Camper, that the larger the brain, the larger one's intellectual power. Okay, so that is one of the disagreement, okay, of Franz Joseph Gall. So hindi ibig sabihin daw na mas malaki yung utak, since mas malaki yung utak mo, then mas matalino ka. Okay, and vice versa, mas maliit yung utak mo, and then mas ikaw ay bobo, or mas ikaw ay walang alam. So anyway, that was discredited by Franz Joseph Gall. And then after numerous dissections and observation, he was able to assert that a mature skull, okay, take note of this, under 14 inches. So try on your imagination, try to calculate, try to subukan yung tansyahin, okay, kung papasok ba kayo dito. So under 14 inches in circumference, okay, yung bilog or yung size ng inyong ulo or ng skull was not able to function normally. Okay, under 14 inches. But 14 inches, okay, 14 inches, that is considered to be your functions. Okay, your skull is okay, that your brain, okay, is functioning properly, okay, or normally. So that is those are some of the beliefs of Franz Joseph Gall. Okay, and then next we have here Johan Caspar Lavator. So as to Johan Caspar Lavator naman, okay, you can also take note of those dates, okay, because it's also sometimes being asked on your examination. So he was born on November 15, 1741, and died on January 2, 1801. So he is considered as a Swiss writer, Protestant pastor, and a founder of physiognomics. And then he is also well known for his work in the field of physiognomy, okay, or the study of facial features of a man in relation to criminal behavior or criminality. So, nandyan din yung famous na libro niya. So, it is in a German. Okay, it is a German. It is written in German. Okay, pero as to the English translation, it is popularly known as Physiognomic Fragments for the Promotion of Human Knowledge and Love. So, that is his famous work. Okay, it was published between 1775 and 1778. So, what is all about that book, or what it content? What is its content? So, it is introduced here the idea that physiognomy, okay, related to the specific character traits of individuals rather than general types. So, hindi ibig sabihin na porket magkamukha sila, okay, is parehas yung ugali nila or parehas yung behavior nila. So, hindi ganun yung sinasabi ni Johan Caspar Lavater. But as to physiognomy, it is only for specific character traits of individuals. So, yun lang dun sa tao na yun na nagpo-possess ng ganung facial features. So, hindi ibig sabihin na i-define niya lahat ng tao na merong ganung facial features. So, that is for Johan Caspar Lavater. So, he studied physiognomy for specific character traits of individual. Okay? Not for general types. Okay? Kasi noon, during the earlier times, bago pa naman si Johan Caspar, they focus more on general types. Na kapag ganito yung facial features niya, parehas sila ng facial features, parehas sila ng ugali. So, for Johan Caspar Lavater, hindi ganun yung tingin niya. Okay, and then the study of systematic correspondence of psychological characteristics to facial features and body structure. So, he has also contributions on body structure. So, anyway, this is he defined it as physiognomy. Okay, the study of systematic correspondence of psychological characteristics to facial features or body structure. Okay, but commonly it is for the facial features. And then a person's facial features or expression, especially when regarded as indicative of character or ethnic origin. Okay, so with that, maybe meron talagang distinctions naman, di ba, sa facial features natin. So Asian people has different, okay, facial features with the Western people, okay, and yung mga Caucasians, okay, somewhat the white people, it's very much different, okay, yung facial features natin with those individuals. So anyway, okay, that is for Johan Caspar Lavater, and we have here a sample picture of how did Johan Caspar Lavater presented his study. So presented his book, yung sinabi natin kanina na German, okay, written in German. So with that, kung mapapansin nyo, meron pa siyang mga illustrations. Okay, so it is being amazed. Okay, it's widely accepted, or it is widely appreciated by different individuals during his times na na-publish ito, kasi nga meron pa siyang illustrations just to further explain yung mga theories niya. Okay, so anyway, that is for Johan Caspar Lavater. This time, yes, Johan Caspar Lavater, and this time we have here Johan Gaspar Sporzheim. Okay, so he lived from December 31, 1776 until November 10, 1832. So he is also a German physician who became one of the chief proponents of phrenology. Okay, so he developed the study of Franz Joseph Gall. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo, yung study ni Caspar Lavater, it started from this date, okay, 1758 to 1828, but this time he continued naman, okay, during the time na nawala na si Johan Caspar Lavater. So nandito na si Johan Gaspar Sporzheim. So yun lang naman yung naging contributions niya. He developed yung works ni Lavater. And this time we have here now the si William Sheldon. Okay, so as to them, he is a famous somatotypist, okay, and also an American psychologist and a physician. Okay, so he was best known for his theory associating physique, okay, personality and delinquency. So you may take note also of this informations. Okay, the date he was born and the date he was died. So you may familiarize also those ones. Okay, as to his contribution, constructed a classification system, okay, that associated physiology and psychology. So ano nga ba yun? So nandun yung somatotyping niya or somatotyping theory niya. So anyway, he outlined in the varieties of human physique and then the varieties of temperament. So these are the books of or works of William Sheldon. So let's try to have here his somatotyping theory. Okay, somatotypes. So nandito yung tinatawag niya as endomorph. Okay? So as to the body type, he classified as endomorph. So ano yung temperament? So take note, ito yung temperament. Okay? His temperament is viscerotonic. Okay? Viscerotonic. So ano ba yung characters niyan? Ano yung characters nila? Okay? An endomorph type person. So he said they are relaxed, sociable, okay, tolerant, comfort-loving, and peaceful. So try to evaluate yourself. Saan kayo nagpo-fall ba ito? Especially yung merong gantong physical structure. So try to evaluate or try to reflect on yourself kung totoo ba yung sinasabi ni William Sheldon. Okay, and then usually yung size or yung shape ng body mo is you are plump, okay, bosom, developed, okay, or having a rounded shape, having a full rounded shape kapag sinabing flat. Bosom naman, okay, ito yung sa mga kababaihan, those who have a large breast, okay, develop, okay, visceral structure, okay, or circular structure, or rounded structure. And then the next one we have here, ito yung masasabi natin, medium body build type, okay, mga athletic type, okay, or in other words, they are mesomorph para kay Sheldon. So anyway, yung temperament niya, he called it as somatonic. So ano yung character ng somatonic? A person who having a temperament, okay, of somatonic, so somatotonic. So they are active, assertive, and vigorous and combative since they are muscular. Okay, and then the next one we have here, the thin one, okay, or so called by Sheldon as ectomorph. Okay, and then he said, the temperament, he said that they are having a temperament of cerebrotonic. Okay, what is the character of that? So they are quiet, okay, fragile, restrained, non-assertive, and sensitive. Okay, so anyway, they are lean, so hindi lahat ng thin ay mahina. Okay, but sometimes there are thin people, okay, but they look so strong and healthy. Or delicate, they are not having a healthy and strong body, okay, or they are having poor muscles. Okay, so those are classified, those are the classifications of body or personality types according to Sheldon. And then we have here the next one, okay, still famous din sa somatotyping, si Ernest Kretschmer naman. Take note also of the date and then the dates kung saan, and then to the place where he was born, okay. And then we have here, he is known as the German psychiatrist, who attempted to correlate, okay, body build and physical constitution with personality characteristics and mental illness. Katulad na lang din ni William Sheldon. So merong pagkakatulad yung study nila. So as to Kretschmer, he classified into 4 naman. So asthenic, athletic, picnic, and dysplastic. Okay, but kay Sheldon, ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. Tatlo lang. Okay, so kay Kretschmer, tignan natin ano yung characteristics nun. Okay, so those people, asthenic type, they are lean, slim, shallow-chested, and tall in proportion to their weight or yung mga payat. Okay, so they are asthenic. Okay, and then for athletic, ito naman yung mesomorph kay Sheldon. Okay, so they are muscular individual with broad shoulders, well-developed chest, robust and strong. Okay, and as to picnic, these are the rounded type, body type naman. Okay, so yan yung endomorph ni Sheldon. And dysplastic, they are having abnormal bodies or abnormal builds. Okay, so he termed it as dysplastic. And then next we have here Hippocrates, still a famous personality under here. Okay, so he is famous, okay, also in the field of medicine. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo, meron dyan yung sinasabi nila as Hippocratic Oath. So yan ay ginagamit ng mga nurses natin or mga practitioners, professionals natin in the health or the medicinal field. Okay, yung Hippocratic Oath na yan. So yan yung ginagamit nila if they are going to have their oath taking. Kaso merong haka-haka na yan ay hindi sinulat ni Hippocrates. So walang parang yan daw ay vague. Yan daw ay gawa-gawa lang. So anyway, he is also known as the father of medicine, and then he is one of the ancient Greek physicians na nabuhay noon. And ano ba yung contributions niya? Especially these are the things that we can relate to behavior, maybe criminal behavior, or maybe crime possession. So anyway, we have here the 4 temperaments. So it is the 4 humors theory, or it also known, take note of this, the 4 humors theory of Hippocrates and Galen. Okay, so humor, we refer to the liquids or substances that are being secreted by the organs natin. I mean, organs of a human body, just like the kidney, just like the liver, okay, just like the intestines and others. So nandyan, I mean, meron daw ano dyan, pwede nating ma-identify yung characteristics or personality ng tao basing or by studying the humor or those humors, okay, or yung substances na sinesecrete ng organs, body organs natin. Okay, so let's try to have here the blood. Okay, this substance inside or it is something that is inside a human body. So the temperament, they call it as sanguine. Okay, sanguine type. So for as to the element, they classified it as air, and then as to the qualities, they say that they are having a hot. They are hot and moist. Okay, why is it that they say that they are hot? Okay, it's because their personality, they are courageous, okay, hopeful and amorous. So somewhat most of their attitudes or most of their personality are positive. Okay, and then we have here the yellow bile naman. So ano tong yellow bile? So yellow bile, it is secreted, okay, or it is being produced by the liver, or it is believed it is being produced by a liver or a liquid substance that are being secreted by the liver. So yan yung yellow bile. Okay? And then anong temperament nila? So those people who produces excessive. Okay? So take note doon pala sa kanina, excessive blood, ha? Excessive blood. Okay? They are characterized as sanguine. So those people have an excessive blood. So for the next one, excessive yellow bile. Okay? Or excessive biles, yellow biles yung pinuproduce ng liver nila. So they are having a temperament of being choleric. Okay, and as to the element, we classified as fire, and then as to their qualities, they are said to be as hot and dry. Okay, and they say they are short-tempered, and then they are ambitious. So somewhat merong negativity, okay, itong personality na to. Maybe sometimes it has a positive side. Okay, so anyway, being ambitious is also, maybe it has an advantage, it has a disadvantage. Well, anyway, take note of that. Okay, yellow bile, they are choleric. And then as to the black bile, it is the one that is being secreted. A person who has excessive black bile, they are classified or having a temperament of melancholy. So take note, black bile, it is being secreted by our kidneys or spleen. Okay, or the spleen, it is a part of the kidney, but part attached to the kidney. Okay, so with that, it is classified as to the element earth, and then they are said to having a qualities cold and dry, and they are introspective or sentimental. Itong mga introspective, ito yung laging isip ng isip. Okay, or they think most of the time about themselves. Okay, or sometimes they are said to be as introvert. Okay, mga tao na mas gustong mapag-isa. Okay, and then with that, nandito naman yung pang-apat under humor. Okay, those persons who produces excessive phlegm, okay, or phlegma, they called as phlegmatic. phlegmatic are they are having a temperament of phlegmatic, and they are classified under the element as water according to these famous personalities, and their qualities, they are cold and moist. Okay, so meron silang positive characteristic or personality, which is being calm, and then this one sometimes has a negative effect, being unemotional, or hindi nila pinapakita yung tunay na feelings nila, or yung hindi sila expressive, kumbaga. So those are phlegmatic temperament. Okay, and then please take note of those, the four temperaments according to Hippocrates and his partner Galen. Okay, and then as to the another illustration that we have here, strong emotions. So hindi ibig sabihin na strong emotions are positive. Okay, strong emotions in a way na it is they classified it as, as classified by Hippocrates and Galen. Okay? So, sa taas, strong emotions, and then sa baba, nakasulat yung mga weak emotions. And then, as to the right, makikita nyo, changeable temperaments. So, these are changeable temperaments. They say, choleric characteristics, they are changeable. But as to the melancholic characteristics, it is unchangeable. It is an unchangeable temperaments. Okay, and then as to phlegmatic, those are considered as weak emotions and sanguine type. Weak emotions daw yung mga yan. Okay, so anyway, that is the four temperaments of Hippocrates.